All right, so hey champions, welcome to today. I want to introduce myself. My name is Chris Bean. The goal for today is to bring you through the start of a new goal setting framework. I think the standard goal setting framework that we have is flawed, and it's flawed in a variety of different ways. And I want to go through why it's flawed or why I believe it's flawed. I want to offer some potential improvements to the standard goal setting method, and then as well as offer my own goal setting method that I have developed based on the flaws and then improvements that I saw that the standard SMART goal setting method failed on. So that's the goal. That's the intention for today. What can you expect? Well, you can expect to learn a little bit, hopefully, about the SMART goal setting method. You can hopefully learn why there are some holes in the standard SMART goal setting framework, and then what we can do to fill those holes. Now, the method that I have developed, this visionary framework, I'll share with you at the end today, that has worked really well for me. If it works well for you, super. If you need to change and alter and modify that, everybody's different. So what I do is not going to work for you. Hopefully today I can share some information for you. And today is going to be part one. This is going to be a total of 4 parts, and I'll go through each of those little bits at a time. I want to share some information. I want to give you some homework, some practice that you can implement, and then we'll come back the subsequent week and we'll kind of dive a little bit more into this. So that's kind of the goal for how this is going to work. The downfalls. So let's start right in with it. The downfalls of SMART goal settings. Many individuals have goals, but they're not actively working on achieving those goals. Right? You have a goal, yeah, I have this thing, but you're not working to achieve those things. And they think, if I write this down, somehow the universe will bring this thing to me. Listen, I'm sorry to burst your bubble. That's not necessarily how those things work, right? You can have those goals, you can write them down, and that could be kind of like a kick in the pants to start to do some things, but it's not going to happen by magic, right? You have to actually go out and put some work in. Oftentimes, we have these goals, we write them down, and then we forget about them. And we do no work on them. We don't even remember that we have them. We have this list of goals for 2020 and with another list of goals for 2021. You have all these lists of goals, but you never actually remember them. You're not paying attention to them. You're not reminding yourself that you have those goals. That's another downfall. Another goal that we have, or another problem with goals that we have, is in today's society where social media is abound. We see those best versions of those people, the bright and shiny, that video that they took 8 times, and that it's got all the filters on that picture, and it's cropped just right so you don't see. Listen, we are striving to achieve what other people hope to have in their life. Our goals, lots of times, are based on what society tells us that we should want, or on what mom or dad or somebody in our past told us that we should want. That, I think, is a problem with goal setting, because if the goals that you have are not yours, then you're not going to be working to achieve those goals. You need to have goals that are specific to you and who you are as a person, not what you feel like you want based on what other people tell you that you want or what you see other people having. Another thing with the standard goal setting method is, because it is so specific and time bound, you are constrained. And when you're constrained, it makes it a little bit harder to move. It's a little bit harder to do the work to achieve those things because you're boxed in such a small little tight box. And oftentimes the goals that you really want to achieve, you have to break outside of that box. You have to stretch and move a little bit. Now, this next one, this is well-intentioned. I fully understand the thought process behind it, but everybody says, well, you got to write your goal down and put it somewhere where you will see it often. Here, let me ask you this, okay? You all live in a house, an apartment somewhere that you call home. I'm sure, unless you're a crazy person, you have images, pictures, paintings up on the walls, right? How often do you stop by and think, oh yeah, I remember that. That was such a good time in my life. Or you go to the next one, oh, this painting, I get this good. Nobody does this. No, you don't take time out of your day to look at the things that are up on your walls. They've just become part of the wall. And if your goals that you're writing down, if you put that somewhere where you are continually looking at it, unless you are continued to focus on that goal as you are sitting there, it's just going to become part of the background. And when it becomes part of the background, you're not looking at it, you're not thinking about it, there's no intentionality behind those. That is another issue. Again, well-intentioned, but you can see strategically there's a problem with that. It doesn't really work. Just like those pictures that you have in your home, right? Those are nice to have, but you're not looking at them. You're not thinking about those things like sometimes maybe you could or should. Another thing is you have some very specific goals. However, you're not taking the adequate time to visualize what those goals can or will do for you. And visualization is what we're going to talk about a little bit later today. So I'm going to save some more information on that. But to visualize your goals is very, very powerful. Nietzsche said that you can bear any how if you have a strong enough why. So what that means, if you have a why you want to do something, no matter what the how is, however you have to do that thing, because you want that thing and you have a strong enough why I want that to do that thing, you can do any of the work that's necessary to achieve it. Oftentimes, our goals miss that. They don't have a why. Why do I want this thing? Well, I want it because that's what Joe and Sally have. They have a nice house and car, so I guess that's what I want because that's what everybody else has. That's not how those things work. Right? You have to have a strong why connected to your goal. Otherwise, you're not going to do the work. How many times have you told yourself at night, man, tomorrow I'm going to get up at insert whatever the time is. And you set your alarm and you get the next morning, snooze, you chuck this thing across the room. There's no why. You have no reason to get up out of bed. Now, on the flip side of that, maybe you have done something like this before. You set your alarm for 3 a.m. the next morning. Snooze, nope. But you set your alarm for 3 a.m. the next morning, you get up and get out of bed because you have to go to the airport to catch a plane to go to vacation. You're not going to hit snooze so many times on that one. You're going to get up, get out of bed. I mean, okay, sure, every once in a while people do miss their flights, but more often than not, they get up, they get to the airport, they get on that plane so they can go to their vacation. Any other day of the week, any other time of the year, that 3 a.m. alarm is going to go off. That they're not getting up out of bed. Because that why is there, that strong intention of why you want to do those things. That is sorely missing in many people's goals. Another thing is you fall off track. And there's multifaceted with this. You fall off track. Number one, most of the time you don't know that you're off track because you're not checking in on your goals. Another thing is when you fall off track, you have no action plan of how to make it back to the path, or even what the path looks like or where it's even at. So that is another thing that is really important to think about as you're going through and setting up your goals. So as I see, those are a handful of the downfalls of the current goal setting method that we have. So now let's go to the other side. Let's think about some ways that we can fix those things, some intentions behind improving that standard goal setting method. And it's through this that the visionary goal setting framework that we'll talk about a little bit later, that this came from. Your goals need to be specific to you. And in order to do that, they need to be based in your values. And we'll go over values probably next week. I think that'll be the values. But a quick idea for values. Time is the most precious commodity that we have. We value time. And how we spend our time shows us what we value the most. If you value spending time with your family, you will sort of bend over backwards to spend time with your family. If you value spending time with your husband or wife or spouse or whatever, you're going to make sure that those things happen. So if our goal is linked to a value that we have, then you're going to have a much higher opportunity to achieve that goal. And on top of that, we talked about the why, and the why is so important, right? You can bear any how if you have a strong enough why. If you have a goal that's linked to your value, you almost already have a why built into it. Why do you want this? Well, because I want to be able to spend time with my family. I want to be known as, I want to be in my family's life as they are growing up. Having a value-based why will help to push through whatever obstacle that is in your way because that why is there. And because that why is there, again, you're going to do whatever it needs to be done in order to do that. Goals, listen, the acronym for SMART, specific, measurable, attainable. Attainable really is one of the key things for the SMART goal setting method that is a failure to me. Because attainable. Attainable means I can reach out and grab it. I can attain it. I can attain it pretty well at any time I want. Maybe there's a time I have to wait till the end of the year. Maybe my contract says I'm going to make $100,000 this year. My goal is to make $100,000 this year. It's a SMART goal. Specific. Yes, $100,000. Measurable. Can I measure that? Yeah, I can. Is it attainable? Yeah, it is. Is it time bound? Yes. That is a goal that some people have. But if it is your contract to do that, providing you don't lose your job or something, you're already going to have that. It's already within your grasp. You don't need to set a goal for that. It's already going to happen. So goals need to stretch us outside of your comfort zone. If your goal isn't stretching you outside of your comfort zone, if you're not moving outside of your comfort zone, if you're not challenging yourself to do difficult things on a daily basis, then at best, you will stay stagnant. But the probable situation that will happen is you will shrink and become a lesser version of yourself. So you have to be strategically challenging yourself to grow outside of your comfort zone, because otherwise you will not be moving, at least not moving in a direction that you want to be moving. When you set your goals, you need to clearly visualize what it would look like for you to achieve this goal. As you visualize, you want to be super specific. What does it look like? How does it taste? How does it smell? What is around you? Every little detail, including the emotions that go along with those things. There's been studies that they take a piano player playing the piano. They're looking at parts of the brain that are lit up while they're playing the piano. They take another group of piano players. They're visualizing playing the piano. They're not actually at a piano. They're just imagining. They're pretending they're at the piano. They're visualizing going through a song or a practice or a set of scales. The brain, the same areas of the brain are lit up while they're visualizing as they are when they're actively playing the piano. What that tells us is your brain cannot tell the difference between actually doing something and visualizing something. And what we can do is we can leverage that. We can leverage that by visualizing the success of achieving that goal. Our brain will start to allow us to make the steps and do the things necessary for us to become that type of person who will achieve that goal. The person who you pretend to be is the person who you will become. And you get the choice in that. You get to choose to become and pretend to be a successful person who achieves these goals, or you can be the person who pretends to not be successful or not achieve those goals. Whichever one you are going to look for is the one that you're going to find. That's going to be the one that you will become. When you are visualizing this, you want to think about how your life will improve. What things will achieving this goal do for you? How will your life look? What different things will be happening for you? Another part of this is visualize somebody who can achieve this goal effortlessly. Somebody who can achieve this thing without even putting any work in. What does it look like for them? What type of things do they do? What type of person is that? And then that's where you get to be pretending or visualizing to be that type of person, and then you will become that type of person. Another thing that I think is wildly important that we need to implement in a goal-setting method is obstacles. We all know life happens, right? In our head, we have a clear linear line. We start at the bottom of the hill, we climb the hill, pow, we're at the top of the hill. That's our goal. Well, unfortunately, life happens. And with life, this is not just a straight line from bottom to top, but it is full of pitfalls. I like to think about this, a way that you can visualize this is you are going through a maze. And in this maze, there are booby traps and there's locked doors and open doors all over. The problem is you have to go through this maze blindfolded. You don't know what's going to be around the next corner. You don't know where the next booby trap is. You don't know what door is open or what door is locked or what door you have to bump into a handful of times before you can actually make it through to the other side. Because that's how life works. Because we know that's how life works. We've experienced all of that already. On our track to achieve our goals, we need to think about potential obstacles that will happen. We need to think about not only what those potential obstacles will be, but think about some steps that you can do to overcome those obstacles if and when they happen. So this does a couple things. Number one is this will give you an opportunity to think about what to do if you get off track and how you can get back on track. right? It's going to give you that action plan that we talked about. On top of that, it's going to give you an opportunity to think about how bad do you want this goal? Because there's going to be obstacles that are going to come up. And if you can strategically think about what those obstacles are going to be and how you're going to overcome them, if and when those obstacles happen, all right, great. I implement plan A. Okay, obstacle 2 came in. All right, great. I implement plan B. Now, I understand life happens and we don't live in a perfect world. And those obstacles that we think might happen are not going to happen. It's going to be wildly different things. I understand that. But through going through that exercise of thinking about what to do if those obstacles come up, you're going to have a concrete version of yourself that can bust through those obstacles, that can break through that wall or climb over the whatever it is. So we can take that same version of ourselves and apply it to whatever those new obstacles are. How much of plan A and B and C can you hodgepodge together to make it through that mystery obstacle that happened to come up that you did not anticipate? Another thing that I think is wildly important for our goals is setting an affirmation for each of our goals. So let's think about this a little bit. An affirmation, just a real quick definition, is an I am statement, right? And when you say an I am statement, I am whatever it is, you are speaking directly to your subconscious. And the subconscious is basically our background programming for us to know how to be us throughout our day. Like tomorrow when you wake up, your subconscious will wake up with you and tell you how to act and be you today or tomorrow or whatever day you're going through. The hard part is that subconscious is with us throughout our entire life. And most of its programming happens between the ages of 0 and 8. That's where a lot of that subconscious information is contained. That's where that childhood trauma lives. That's where all of those teachers that told you that you can't do these things, that's where all of that stuff is. And we bring that through the rest of our life. And we don't know that we do that. That's the most challenging part. We don't know that we're showing up every day in our life with all of this baggage that's in our subconscious. And until we can take it from the subconscious into the conscious, then we can't get rid of it. So through the process of using these affirmations, these I am statements, you get to speak to the subconscious. You get to consciously reprogram your subconscious to be that new type of person who will achieve that goal that you already visualized. This will help you also to believe that you are that type of person that can do those things. One tip that I like to do is I set a reminder in my phone. I have a reminder on my phone that goes off at different times during the day, the week, the year, and month that reminds me of different affirmations. And I strategically design that system to bring me the affirmation when it is most important. So one of my values is to be the best parent that I can be for my kids. I have an affirmation that goes with that says, I am the best parent. Actually, it says, I am the best father in the world. Sorry for other parents out there. I already have that title. You can try, but good luck. That's what I have. And it would not help me very much if I had that affirmation come up right now. My kids are at school. That doesn't help. I have that affirmation go on the weekends when I'm with my kids. I read that, I say it, and then I go and put those things into action. And you can do that for any type of affirmation that you have. And if those affirmations are linked to the goals and you have that consistently remind yourself, that's how you can remind yourself of those goals, not by putting it up on a picture on the wall that you're never going to look at. This is how you actually can do that. Now, each goal needs to have a specific set of daily practices that you can implement that will align you with the type of person who will achieve that goal. Now, I say daily practices as opposed to habits. Habit is a word that people say, and you think it means a magical thing. Like I just set this thing, I'm going to set a habit for this, and then I forget it. My body's just going to do it. And I don't even have to think about it. Nope, wrong. Doesn't work that way. Sorry. You still actually have to think about those things. People talking about, oh yeah, you have to make sure you have a habit for this. This is like brushing your teeth. Okay, but sometimes you have to remember to brush your teeth. And if you go into the bathroom and you do something just out of order, oh man, this is all kinds of. Just because you have a habit of doing something doesn't mean that it happens automatically. So the intention behind practice, a daily practice, a weekly practice, a monthly practice, depending on how this all works for you, but having that practice, that brings a different intentionality behind those things. So I think that is key. And we'll end up talking a little bit more about that on a different day as well. Your goals need to have an opportunity for you to check in on those goals. We talked about getting off track. And if you get off track in your goals and you don't know that you're off track, that's an issue. Because then you have no idea that you're going in way the wrong direction. And if you don't want to go in the direction of your goal that you specifically set for yourself, that's okay. But if you're going in some weird random direction you don't know that you're going, that's where the problem lies. So if you have an opportunity to check in on your goals at least on a weekly basis, that will be so helpful for you just to make sure you are on track to do the things that you're doing. Okay, so with that too, I think best case scenario is you do it on a weekly basis and you schedule a time. Maybe you do it at the end of Saturday night before you move into Sunday. You have an opportunity. You look at your goals. Okay, great. Yep, I'm good on this. I'm good on this. I can do better on this next week. And that gives you an idea to think about how you can apply some improvement to those different areas of your life. And of course, tracking. We know that what gets measured gets managed, right? We have all heard that before. So if we're measuring our goals, if we're tracking our progress, then we're going to start to check in on that. We're going to monitor that. We're going to manage that so that we can achieve those things that we want to achieve. So those are both the issues that I have with SMART goals and some potential improvements that I have. Next, I want to share with you my visionary goal setting method. Now, like the SMART goal setting method, the visionary goal setting is an acronym. So V is for visualize success. You want to create a clear mental image of what your success looks like. I is integrate your values. Align your goals with your core set of values. S is for set your why. Define a specific and meaningful reason behind each of those goals that you have. I is for instill affirmations. Develop positive affirmations to reinforce the belief and positivity that you can achieve that goal. O is for organize daily practices. Establish daily practices that will contribute directly to your goals. N is for navigate weekly check-ins. Schedule regular review to celebrate, analyze, and adjust your progress. A is for anticipate obstacles. Visualize potential challenges and plan how you would like to overcome those. R is for reveal comfort zone stretching. Identify actions that push you outside of your comfort zone and prioritize those actions. And then Y is for yield to adaptability. Be open to adjusting your goals, your strategies based on those different circumstances that life will inevitably throw your way. Now, that's my version of that. Again, hopefully, as we go through this system for the next couple of weeks, you can see how that could be beneficial and how hopefully that I have tried at least to fix those shortcomings that we talked about for SMART goals. It's probably not the perfect version, and I'm sure what works for me is not going to work specifically for you. You may have to alter it on your own path. I understand that, but I hope to just give you some insight on how we can do that. Now, that V is visualize success. That's the first step. We're going to talk about visualize success today. And in fact, I want to give you 5 different visualization exercises that can help you achieve this goal. And I'm going to give you a small homework assignment that if you choose to do, I think will help you in this as well. So the first one is to visualize your success, right? The purpose of this is to build an emotional connection and clarity to whatever that goal is. So here it is. I want you to think about your success as a movie. So close your eyes. Imagine you're watching a movie of your future self achieving your goal. What does it look like? What are the things that you see? Who is there around you? What does it feel like? What emotions are you going through? Do you feel the pride, the joy, the excitement that you're experiencing in that moment? Visualize every detail, what you're wearing, what the environment looks like, all of those things, the sights, the smells, the tastes, everything. And then, of course, do you want to watch that movie on a regular type of basis? That can be a small action that you put into your weekly check-in, right? Each day, Each week, you visualize that movie playing out of you achieving whatever that goal is. That would be one way. And because I know that everybody works differently, I want to give you a couple other ones as well. The other one, next one here is daily micro visualization. So the purpose of this is to stay focused and motivated on small actionable steps. These are the practices that we talked about. They help to connect to that why, that get you to do the work to achieve these things. At the start of your day, identify one action that you need to take to achieving your goal. Close your eyes, visualize yourself achieving and completing this action. Include sensory details, the sights, the smells, the textures, the feelings, the emotions that go along with this. Picture the result of how it contributes to your long-term goals. The next one, the third one here, is obstacle rehearsal. We talked about how those obstacles are so important to combat before they happen, right? So with this, you want to imagine potential obstacles that you might face while you are pursuing your goal. Visualize yourself calmly and effectively overcoming whatever those challenges are. Focus on your resourcefulness, your resilience, your adaptability, and create strategies that you can use to overcome those goals. And of course, you want to repeat this exercise to build it into a mental preparedness. That way, if or when those challenges happen, you are prepared. You are ready for those things if and when they happen. Next one here, number 4, is future gratitude. The purpose of this is to foster a mindset of success and abundance. You want to picture yourself having already achieved your goal. What does it look like having already achieved that thing that you've wanted for so long? Reflect on the gratitude, how you feel. What are you grateful for? What are you thankful for? All of those things that have happened up to that point. Write down the top 3 or 5 things that you're thankful for that is directly related to that achievement. The support of people in your life, the people that were there to help you, to encourage you along the way. What was the journey like? How did the rewards feel after achieving those? And then again, you want to have that in your weekly check-in so that you can continue to revisit those things, that gratitude after having already achieved that goal. And then the last one here, number 5, is to have a vision board. Now, vision boards, you can go 2 different ways on this. You can have a physical vision boards where you cut out pictures and you put those up on a poster board. That's one way to do that. Another way that you can do this is you have a digital vision board where you collect images into one area. And I don't know if Pinterest is still a thing anymore, but for a long time, people would use Pinterest and they would use that in that type of way. But you can have this vision board digital version or a physical version. And with this, of course, you want to align that imagery with some tangible goals that you have. And you're going to be creating and connecting that with the visualization of having achieved those things. You want to create a vision board with images or words even that represent having achieved that goal. Close your eyes, visualize walking through the scenes in that vision board as if it was real. Imagine touching those objects, interacting with the people, and experiencing whatever that environment looks like. You want to ideally spend between 5 or 10 minutes on a mental walkthrough, visualizing what that looks like for you. So those are 5 exercises that I think will be a good jumping off point for you. And I hope that one of those connects with you and works good for you. I know not everybody learns and works the same way. That's why I wanted to share a couple of them with you. Now, homework assignment. Yes, homework assignment. Now listen, I've turned this in. This is just for you. You do it if you want to do it. Totally you. Okay? Here it is. Your homework assignment is to write a detailed description of what your success looks like. What does success look like for you? Like we talked about with that movie, right? I think I connect most with that one. But you are writing this down. Either I would, if you're going to do this, I'm going to say to physically write it down with pen and paper, not type it, because there's some different things that happen in your brain when you do one or the other. If you're physically going to write this down, that's going to give you the best chances of success on this visualization practice. But as you're going, you want to write down all of the specific details that you have, any specific thing that you can do of what it looks like having achieved this goal, of what somebody who achieves this goal effortlessly looks like. Different sights, smells, sights, how it feels to interact with those objects, with having achieved that thing. Who are the people that are there with you? How do you interact with them? Who's talking to you? What does this now do for your life? As specific and detailed as you possibly can imagine. The more specific, the more detailed, the more emotions that you can add to this visualization writing exercise, the better this will be for you. So hopefully this has been beneficial for you. We detailed, again, the kind of shortcomings of SMART goals. We talked about some specific improvements that we can make on a goal setting method. And then I gave you my visionary goal setting method. We talked about the first V, the visualization of success, and some different ways to do that. Next week, we don't have to go so much as the back catalog of why the standard goal setting method doesn't work. We get to move right into that visionary acronym. So we're going to move into that next week. If you would be so happy to join me next week for that, I'd be happy to have you. And for those of you guys that are here today, if you have any questions, you can type those up into the comments, and I'll be more than happy to answer those for you as well.